Imagine playing a video game with no game over option, and the stakes are human life. In a world that tells you to dream, if your dream is to be an air traffic controller, it has a 3% chance of coming true. It is a male-dominated industry, so as a woman, it drops it down to 0.3%. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jouhayna AlMheiri. I am a senior air traffic control officer, proudly serving in Abu Dhabi at the Sheikh Zayed Air Navigation Center. The facility I work in works with every aircraft that comes in and out of the entire United Arab Emirates airspace. Just in the last year, we had over 1 million aircraft movements. That averages it to 2,700 aircraft movements per day. A question for you. Does anybody here know what air traffic control is? A show of hands. Who thinks this is air traffic control? Show of hands. Yeah, I saw this in the audience. Yeah, there are aircraft marshalers. Air traffic control, we are like the puppet masters of the sky. This is the sky as we speak. Thousands of aircraft flying at over 900 kilometers an hour. Pilots fly the aircraft, but did you know that there is somebody on the ground telling them what to do? What altitude to climb or descend to? What direction to fly in to ensure they're on the correct flight path to reach their destination safely? Even telling them the exact speed to fly so they remain laterally separated from other aircraft in the sky. Imagine it's a giant orchestra in the sky and we are the conductors. Can anybody tell me how many types of air traffic control they think there are? 3, 5, I see 4, okay. Thank you for your participation. It's 3. We're going to go into the 3 types of air traffic control. The very first one, tower control. That's the tower in Dubai Airport. Tower controllers work with aircraft that are taking off, landing, and taxiing. Taxiing is aviation lingo for driving in the airport. Can anyone tell me what else drives around the airport other than aircraft? Buses. Air traffic controllers are also in communication with the buses to make sure that you go from the terminal to the aircraft and back safe and sound. I haven't been in school for over a decade, so are hall monitors still a thing? Yes? No? Okay. Well, back in the day, when I was in school and Facebook was cool, hall monitors are the people in the halls that make sure everything goes around safely. If air traffic control was a school, hall monitors would be like tower controllers, making sure that they are navigating the halls safe and sound. The next type of air traffic control is approach control. They work with aircraft just close to the airport and close with tower controllers. They usually operate within a 50 to 100 kilometer radius around the airport in that airspace. Airspace is basically a chunk of sky. Approach controllers line aircraft up so they have enough spacing between them to then speak to the tower and then land the aircraft. If air traffic control was a theme park, approach controllers would be the people making sure that the queues are in an orderly fashion before they ride the roller coaster. Area control. This is where I work. When you've been a passenger on an aircraft and the pilot tells you, today our plan is to cruise up at 37,000 feet. I'm the one providing that instruction to make sure the sky is clear and safe in order for you to climb to that altitude. Area controllers and approach controllers both work in radar environments. So basically, every dot on our screen are human lives on the line. To bring it all together, how the 3 types of air traffic control work together. When you are in the airport, you're speaking to the tower controller. Aerodrome is the technical term for airport, so that's a new word that you've learned today. The tower controller issues the aircraft to take off. Once they have taken off, they speak to the approach controller, within that 50 to 100-kilometer radius of the airport. In order to continue their climb, they then speak to area controllers. Let's say you've departed out of the UAE and you're flying towards the east. You will then speak to the next area controller, which would be with Oman, and so on and so forth until you are close to your destination. You know, when the pilot says, we're starting our initial descent into whichever airport, that is when the area controller starts the initial descent. To then continue that descent is the approach controller. And when you get really close to the airport and you can see the land really well, that is when you're speaking to the tower controller, who then issues you your clearance to land on the cleared runway. And then, if you're not lucky enough to park at the terminal, also speaking to the buses to then get you to that terminal. What are the top 5 skills I think you need to be as an air traffic controller? Take a mental note of each one as I go through them. Calm in high-pressure situations. Imagine playing a video game with no game over option, and the stakes are human life. You saw how busy the skies are at the moment. You need to be able to make calculated decisions in order to keep thousands of lives safe and sound when you're going into work. Assertive decision-making. If anybody in the audience has ever been called bossy, I like the word assertive better. Continue to be that way, because as an air traffic controller, you need to be assertive in your decisions and be absolutely sure about what you're doing. Mental math. I will say it is very simple: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And you're applying it to the distance, speed, and time triangle. You need to be able to calculate how long it takes for an aircraft to go from point A to point B, or multiple aircraft trying to land at the same airport, and assign certain speeds to them. Situational awareness. It is extremely important for you to be able to visualize in 2D when you're looking at your radar screen or out of the tower window, as well as 3D. When you see multiple aircraft on top of one another in your radar, you should be able to mentally visualize that one is at 10,000 feet, 11,000 feet, 12,000 feet, and so on and so forth. You also need to have situational awareness that when you're looking at your radar or out the window, the location and the altitude of all the aircraft that are in your control. And of course, attention to detail. Something as small as missing a 0 makes all the difference. Emotional compartmentalization. Mental health is an extremely taboo topic in aviation. And I believe speaking about that is important in order to make that change. In the last 11 years, I've also become an on-the-job training instructor, and I have worked with extremely intelligent students. But they really struggle to leave home at home and come to work and be able to focus, make decisions in high-pressure situations. I was the same when I was 19 and recruited. I had an instructor give me this advice, and I've shared it with all my other students, and I'm sharing it with you today. I know the pressure is on because you have a lot going on at school and you need to be able to focus. So this is a little exercise I hope that you can take away with you. I call it the box. Before you enter work or school, through the entrance or any door, I want you to visualize a box. In that box, you're going to put in whatever you feel is going to distract you before you walk into that class or work. You wrap that box up, gift wrap it if you want it to be cute on their way out, and leave it there. And when you walk through the door or the gate, you visualize your favorite color. My favorite color is very specific. It's a holographic purple with pink glitter. And I imagine that color coming onto me as a very thick protective layer. And absolutely nothing that happens at work that day is going to impact me, because I'm holographic purple now. Okay? Visualize your favorite color, and that is your armor for the day. You're not going to allow anything in the box to impact your ability to work and to perform and to excel. When you're done with your shift or your day at school or day at work, and you're walking out, most of the time, you will even forget that you had a box in the first place. Most of the time, you'll forget you even had a box in the first place, but it's up to you. Do you want to pick up and take all those worries again and unbox them and carry on with your day, or leave it behind? And I promise you, the next day you come back in, because you've been reintegrated into the real world, you're going to add more to the box or have a completely new box. But it is extremely important to take care of your mental health and show up to work ready. Set boundaries with family members, which I know is taboo. But if you need to take the time for yourself to focus, let them know. Communicate clearly on what you need in order for you to excel. Most of the time, to get the job done, you need to be able to apply all of these skills at the exact same time. And there are multiple skills out there, but these are my top 5. Now, how did I end up becoming an air traffic controller? The theme of this event is ex nihilo, which means from nothing. The misconception a lot of people have about Emirati people is that we come from everything. There's abundant wealth. What problems do they have? Well, what if I was to tell you that I started working from an extremely young age? At the age of 11 is when my mom started taking me into work. And the work ethic was instilled in me from an extremely young age. What if I told you that I used to worry if we could afford to even be in school for the next semester for myself and my 2 younger sisters? What if I told you that I was trying to do the math to make sure that we were able to pay the next rent check in time? Don't judge a book by its cover. How did I end up as an air traffic controller? I know most of you are almost done with school, so a show of hands, who here knows what their plan is after they graduate? Congratulations. You are ahead of where I was when I was your age. Because of the financial situation, I felt like the finances for my further education shouldn't go towards me, but to my 2 younger sisters and to pay the rent and all the other things that we would need in the house. So I didn't even apply to a single university when all my friends were getting accepted into them. I graduated high school with absolutely no plan other than how are we going to make ends meet? What I did know is that I wanted to be independent. I wanted to build myself up and be the financial provider, since I was the eldest child, to take care of my mother, to be able to have the ability to retire her and help my 2 younger sisters complete their education. A year passed after I finished high school. All my friends on Facebook were posting that they finished their first year of university and I was still stuck. In that time, I had applied to any and every scholarship program that I could find. I got rejected over and over and over again, and it crushed me every time. It was so embarrassing, and I got into a really bad mental health space. A friend of mine had told me, Jouhayna, why don't you apply to be an air traffic controller? And I was like, what's that? They sent me the website. I go onto the website, and at this point, I've completely lost hope. I see there's nowhere to even apply online, and I was like, oh, all right. So I sent them an email, because why not? Super simple, nothing fancy. I didn't have ChatGPT to help me those days. Hello, my name is Jouhayna. I'm good at English. I want to be an air traffic controller. Send. Kept it simple. The next day I got a phone call, and at the time I was working in a veterinary clinic. There were dogs barking, cats meowing, and we had a parrot that I taught how to fart on cue. So all these sounds were going on in the room, and I go, hello? Yes, this is Jouhayna speaking. They invited me to send my CV. Now, I had the audacity, because that's just who I am, and I said, can my mom and I come see the place, and if I like it, I'll send my CV? A couple weeks later, we got the approvals in order for us to go and see the place. My mom and I were like, ooh, this is nice. What's the salary? Yeah, I can definitely retire, Mom. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. At the time, the success rate for applicants to make it into an air traffic control training program worldwide was 1%. And as a woman, the likelihood of me even making it into that program was 0.2%. And I made it. And I showed up looking exactly as I do now, with my sparkly abaya, full face of makeup, and I did not put my femininity aside. I showed up and used it as my superpower. At the age of 19, I successfully completed the air traffic control training program, making me the youngest female and the second Emirati female to ever successfully complete that program. At the age of 25, I became an on-the-job training instructor. And it is my honor to train the next generation of air traffic controllers to protect the skies of my country. When I had completed the air traffic control program, I found out that after all my hard work and applying my top 5 skills, all I got was an air traffic control license, basically like a driving license. And that wasn't good enough for me. Now that I had direction in life, I made the decision that I'm going to work full-time and study part-time to get my bachelor's in air transport management, which I managed to get with honors. In this period of time, the next step, I kept pushing myself. What do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? And I never enjoyed each success as I went through it. And I got burnt out. Eventually, I made the decision to tap into my creative side. So I started a podcast called Press Pause with Jouhayna, where we take a moment to put our phones away, have discussions, and learn from people doing interesting things from all walks of life. And I believe it is very important to share knowledge, so I made it free and available on YouTube for anybody to tune in, because knowledge is power and it's important to share that. And again, the foundation is, what is next? What is next? So since I like to work hard, I've made the decision that the sky truly isn't the limit. So keep pushing, keep going. If you're lost right now, find out what it is you want to do, even if it's just a feeling, and that feeling for me was independence, and chase it. Aviation is an extremely pilot-centric industry. And somebody once came to me and said, aren't you upset that you didn't get to be a pilot? And you know what I said to them? Why control one aircraft when I can control them all? If you decided to sneak your phones in, find me. My podcast is called Press Pause with Jouhayna. Please connect with me. I manage all my social media, so I'll respond to you myself. And thank you so much for being an incredible audience. Give yourselves a big round of applause.